Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Dallas Braden coming to you live from Alabama, baby. Woo!
Alameedskins. I'm out in the weeds in Alameda.
Where is that? That's Alabama.
It's a small island just west of Oakland, California.
Okay, so the A's are home today?
A's are home today. A's will be leaving home today, jumping on a bird, leaving on a jet plane.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if I'll be back again,
Right.
but I'm going to Texas before I return. So
Which
here.
team are you going to play? Because that could say wildly different things about the experience that you're about to have.
Well, lucky for you, Jared, we're going to spend about a week or so in Texas, which means we're going to play both teams.
Ah, okay. So opposite ends of the spectrum. Which Texas team do you play first?
Well, the Rangers are going to have to deal with the green and gold rolling into town first.
Uh-oh.
So we'll start there. We're going to have a little appetizer in Arlington before we move on to a main course. Maybe wash it down at the juice box. That's what we've got on the docket right now. So Rangers, look the fuck out. Here come the swinging A's.
Yeah, I don't know. Like at this juncture, are the A's positioning themselves
Jared, let me answer your question.
A slump buster? Or
the A's are just as important as any other playoff team in the bracket right now. That's the question you were asking, and that's the question I'll answer. Yes. And Jay, hey, you look perplexed. The idea is that I said this on the broadcast the other day. You're looking to be a silent gastral emission here if you're the Oakland Athletics. Just be that silent fart, the one you don't see coming, and by the time it hits you, you know what? It's too late. You're choking for... You can't do anything. There's no reaction other than to wear the L. And that's what the A's can represent right now. So, yeah, just as important as any other team in the playoff race right now.
So the September version of the A's is the silent fart. I'm going to go ahead and assume that the April version was when you like shit yourself so badly that you need like new pairs of pants and it runs down your leg. And
some are calling it the diarrhea airplane, J.H.
Yes, where they have to pull the whole airplane back around. Yeah.
So,
and then they clean it, and it's still so bad that people are complaining. Yeah.
Well, no, you clean it, and there might be, some residual aroma there.
Yeah.
But when you look a little closer and you get over that initial smell, you're like, okay, you know what? Floors look pretty clean. I'm not finding any. I'm not finding any corn kernels around here. Like, we look good.
Let's be real. If the April version of the A's was the diarrhea plane, and by September we're talking about them as a silent but deadly, that's a successful season, I would have to say.
As far as digestion goes, we've gone from extremely fluid, literally fluid, to now we're starting to back things up a little. We're starting to put some solids together. Might have ourselves a little George Brett, little clean cut. That'd be great. That would be great. That would be great. But that's what September is all about for the green and gold right now. You're watching young rookies come up and do their thing, but they're impacting, and they will impact this race that has the Astros, the Rangers, and the Seamen all surging towards October. And there's no way you can tell me that the A's don't play a massive role in all of that.
Yeah. Looking at the schedule here, you guys finish up with Toronto today.
Yep.
Then you go to Texas, then you go to Houston, then you get the Dads. That'll be a waste of a series. Just two teams going nowhere. Then Seattle after that. That'll be very funny that after everything that's happened this year that you finish with the Angels. It's just a perfect pairing. Two of the most dumpster fire franchises. It's like that scene in the Terminator where he's just going down in the lava with the thumbs up. That's you and Max. That's you and Max just sinking into the lava. Thumbs up. Season's over. Oh, what a way to go out. That'll be quite the experience. This episode is sponsored by Knockaround Sunglasses, quality, polarized, affordable shades, including the new MLB and U.S. women's soccer team pairs. Check them out at knockaround.com. But since we're on the subject of the wild card, I figured we would kind of start the Wednesday show with a little wild card update because there has been some shifting. If you're not paying attention, and I apologize to the Texas Rangers fans listening because we do have a Texas Rangers contingency that listens. Entering play today, Wednesday, September 6th, the Texas Rangers are no longer in a playoff spot, which they had essentially hold for the entire year. Like they were in first place for the entire year. Now, with about 4 weeks to go, maybe a little bit less, the Texas Rangers are not holding a playoff spot. It is the Toronto Blue Jays who have leapfrogged them. So in the American League, the wild card is as follows. The Tampa Bay Rays at 84-55. They have a 7-game lead on the Seattle Mariners, 77-61, with that second wild card spot because they have lost now 3 straight, which I think that's a separate discussion about the Seattle Mariners and their situation right now. But the Houston Astros have beaten the brakes off the Texas Rangers in the series that we circled as the series of the week, and it hasn't been much of a series. The Texas Rangers have gotten their absolute shit pushed in by the Houston Astros. José Altuve last night, 3 bombs, another blowout. Rendon went deep. I think Maldonado went deep. So now the Toronto Blue Jays have a half-game lead over the Texas Rangers, who have a 4.5-game lead over the Boston Red Sox. Man.
Tough to watch last night for the Red Sox, I bet.
Well, the Red Sox, I already said that their season's over, so it doesn't really matter. You can't.
I know, but that's like the 5th time I think that's happened. So that leads me to believe that there's been some hope that has started to creep its way back into Red Sox fans' brains for whatever reason.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But it
no
feels
Red Sox fan thinks that they're making the playoffs, especially even before last night. No,
I don't know. It feels like this. It feels like I've learned about this group a little, and it feels like that group is probably going to be projecting sooner rather than later. Meaning, hey, look, let's tell the world that we're not interested in the playoffs.
Going into play last night, did any Red Sox fan think like, man, if we can just win this game, we're going to make it to the playoffs?
I believe so.
No, I don't think so, realistically.
Yeah, no.
I think after the game. I think after the game is when that became a very real thought. Like shit.
No.
But you know what?
The playoff hopes died after they got swept in by the Astros. That was it. That was the moment that they died, which was like what, a week and a half ago.
The Astros are just out here dousing all kind of playoff flames, huh?
Yeah, that's what they do. They're killers. That's how you go to 7 straight American League Championship Series. You get to step on throats to get there. And that's what they have. They have no problem doing. The Astros, as you know, they don't play by the rules. They're not here to make friends. They're here to win championships.
They do not play by the rules.
No. They are not here to make friends with anybody. And they will turn on their own, like Carlos Correa. The Astros said, fuck you, dude. We have Mr. Pena. You're out. You're out of the mob. They put one in the back of his head. They keep on moving. They keep on winning championships. And they keep on making those ALCS appearances. And to get to those points, to get to the World Series, to get to the ALCS, you've got to step on throats. They effectively ended the Red Sox season. Did they effectively end the Texas Rangers season? I don't know. Because they've been playing some pretty bad baseball as of late. It's not just what they did against the Houston Astros.
Terrible.
Can we talk about Altuve specifically for a second?
Mm-hmm. The three homers?
I mean, yes, it's obviously the 3 homers.
It's ridiculous.
That's the hook for us to be able to talk about him right now. But it really is kind of more than that, too, because since he got back from injury on July 26th, he's hitting .367 with a 1.069 OPS over 36 games. He's been one of the very best players in baseball since that point. And I feel like he has 5 homers over his last 2. So it's not even last game, but I feel like there was this moment where kind of post scandal that people just assumed that Altuve was going to go in decline and the 2020 season was weird and all that sort of stuff. I mean, this guy has been unbelievable since the start of last season when he has played baseball. Unbelievable. 937 OPS over 209 games played since the start of last season. And I know Jordan's their best hitter and, Kyle Tucker is the guy that people keep waiting for the, the MVP caliber season. But I mean, Altuve is he's insane to be doing this at 33 years old.
He's a constant and he's a guy. When you talk about this team not being healthy at at full strength or at a full clip, Altuve's a guy in that lineup that he gets hot for 2-3 weeks. He can carry a club. Absolutely carry a club. And they have needed a guy like Altuve to do what he's done during the stretch where they're trying to figure out how they're going to get back to full strength and what does it look like when they're here. Well, you're starting to look at what this team does when they are back to full strength. Michael Brantley back, Jordan back, Altuve all the way back. And now what has happened? They've taken over the division. They're starting to create separation at the most pivotal time of the season. This is what this club does. When they talk about understanding how to win baseball games and what it takes, there's going to be teams that just, they have guys that are capable of doing what Altuve is doing right now. And that is how you put a team on your back.
This is probably more of an off-season conversation, but I think people had kind of put it to bed after 2020. And the last 3 seasons, I think, have put it back to the eventual forefront, which is José Altuve's place in the Baseball Hall of Fame when he hangs it up. Because I think this 30s era push since turning 31 basically is really putting him in a conversation where unless he falls off a cliff after this season, he's going to have to be discussed very seriously given the standards for second baseman.
Yeah, and I think, understandably so. I get it if you haven't wanted to have that conversation around Altuve for a couple of years because you're still a little bitter for whatever reason. Whether or not you are in the camp of José Altuve had nothing to do with any of the scandal, or whether you think José Altuve was public enemy number 1 during the scandal. I get it if you've taken a couple of years off of riding the José Altuve train, but you are eventually, like you said, Jay Hay, you are eventually going to have to acknowledge what this man has done over the course of his career and where he fits in the pantheon of Hall of Fame second baseman. Because, as of right now, we're knocking on the door of, I would have to believe we're knocking on the door of like entry-level war for him to be in the Hall of Fame.
And he's been like an MVP caliber player since the start of last season. He just hasn't really played in enough games. Nobody was going to give him the MVP last year.
Well,
he's hitting at.
Yeah. Well, he's got an MVP under his belt, right?
Yep.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. One. Just a quick note on last night too. First player since at least 1961 to hit a homer in 4 consecutive innings going back to the previous game, and the 4th to hit 5 home runs in 6 plate appearances, joining Manny in 98, Sean Green in 02, and Josh Hamilton in 2012.
Pretty good. And I believe that stretch was part of a 4-homer game for Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah. In Baltimore. Yeah.
And joins Marshall McDougal.
Oh, Big Dukes? Hell yeah. Well, I'll ask you guys.
His OPS. Sorry. His OPS in 2 days went from 899 to 969.
Jesus,
love that. Just a little 100-point jolt. No big deal. I said this on the broadcast too, and this is what I was talking about the other day. If I'm being totally candid, I was just not in a brain space to rattle off the notes that I had written down in 2 minutes. But the Astros are probably in the best situation out of the 3 teams in this AL race right now, as far as scheduling is concerned. Going down the stretch, 12 of their last however many games they have left, 22 or whatnot, are against teams under 500. Padres, A's, and they've got 6 against the Royals. So 3 against the Padres, 3 against the A's, 6 against the Royals. So 12 out of their last 22 or however many left are against teams under 500, which provides a decent pathway to holding on to the division for the remainder of the season. And on top of that, they will play the Mariners the series before last. So coming off a Kansas City Royals series at home, they'll then travel to Seattle and wrap up the season in Arizona. But have an opportunity ahead of them after this series against the Rangers wraps up to put in some work.
I'll ask you guys this question. Will the Texas Rangers find themselves back in a playoff spot at any point moving forward for the rest of the season, or is this it? do they continue to plummet and they never see a playoff spot again?
I think they'll have a couple days in the playoffs at least.
The actual
That's not-
playoffs or a playoff spot?
No, a playoff spot.
Okay.
At the very least, I'm confident saying they'll have 1 or 2 more days at least over the Blue Jays. Will they actually make it over the Blue Jays? I think it's tough. I mean, they are playing so freaking bad, dude. They're 4-14 since August 16th. And if you look at their like schedule, it's just like August 16th came and that was it. They've sucked butt ever since.
Was
And-
the turning point like the Josh Young injury?
It feels like that's, man, I'm so glad you said that, Jared, because it feels like that was the moment where things were like, all right, we don't have our stud potential AL Rookie of the Year hopeful. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like, what do you
Because I
mean
mean,
what
like
do you
they
do
were
now?
they
You're
were
a
one of the
pretty good
best. They were one of the best lineups in the league.
team.
And you
And
lose
Young,
one
man.
guy, you pull that pin, and it's like everything went to shit. I think everyone keeps trying to find a turning point because even like if you go back to the trade deadline, like acquiring Max Scherzer, you're like, all right, cool, we got Max Scherzer, and then I think they're like 15-16 since then or something like that. So whatever point you want to look at, they're playing bad baseball. It's not like acquiring Max Scherzer made the Rangers season fall apart or losing Josh Young. You're like, yeah, that sucks. Like that's definitely a blow, but should it have torpedoed their entire season? No, I don't know. Is that like in your opinion, Dallas, is that like a veteran leadership thing? Like no one's standing up being like, hey, everyone calm the fuck down. Because I think that the more that you dwell on it and panic and see that the Astros are coming and the Mariners are coming, shit, now we're playing bad baseball. Like you can kill a season in a week.
Yeah, but you have guys in that room that should be able to have those conversations that you need to have and prevent the snowball from building. Like you mean to tell me that a guy like Corey Seager doesn't have the experience and doesn't have the understanding of where they're at in their season right now and what needs to happen? Yeah, he does. He's been there. And when I say he's been there, I don't mean he's been on the outside looking in trying to chase down the postseason, but he's been in the driver's seat many, many a times at this point in the season. And he knows what type of baseball has to be played and where the production has to come from. So when you feel like you're starting to skid, the offense is not able to build those innings or string those innings together, you know somebody has to come up and get a big knock. And if we've got runners in scoring position early with nobody out, now we start to think about giving ourselves up for the greater good. I'm not telling you to turn around and bunt, but I'm telling you, if you're getting worked away, hit the ball the other fucking way instead of trying to get big here. That's not what the game needs us to do. So just having those little conversations like guys in the bullpen, right? The idea of you got to come in and you got to bear down now. So trying to feel your way around the strike zone, first pitch of the at bat when you've been thrown into the shit. No, buddy, you need to have a fucking game plan. Slider for strikes early. Let's start putting guys away. But the mentality has to be there. We're not feeling our way through this. We are the hunter. And it's making sure that the hunter mentality is what is present.
The wild thing is, and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at it thinking this might be wrong, but since August 16th, when they totally fell off a cliff, worst record since August 16th, they have the third best offense. According to WAR. Third best offense.
What are you saying since August 16th?
August 16th. Their pitching is dead last.
Yikes. Their bullpen
So-
is fucking horrid.
Well, and
Yeah.
their starting pitching has, I don't think it's like a complete meltdown, but they've had like 4 or 5 guys have like 3 bad starts in 4 or 2 consecutive bad starts. Like with the notable exception of Max Scherzer, like some of these guys have scuffed. And again, it's very small samples, but we're also talking about this plummet being a pretty small sample overall and happening pretty quickly. Like Evaldi's been okay, but he hasn't been the same guy that he was through the beginning of June. Jordan Montgomery's last 2 starts, he's allowed 9.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they just bring Evaldi back with no fucking rehab starts? They just threw him
Yeah,
out
they
there?
had yesterday.
Yeah, he
yesterday.
came back last night. No rehab. And by the
he
way,
looked
to
terrible.
Joey's point, since August 16th, the Rangers are 26th in baseball in OPS.
That's what I meant.
One of the
So-
best
so-
offenses in baseball.
So not the third best offense.
No.
That's what I fucking said. Like, this doesn't. I'm looking it up on
Well, you're
Fangraphs.
using
I'm like,
WAR. Like, why would you use WAR for offense?
OPS.
Fucking yeah.
But how?
26
But that.
OPS.
Okay, I was definitely something was wrong with my
for sure.
input.
Well,
was
they just
way
for
off.
sure.
They just redid the
For
interface on Fangraphs, so everybody's still getting used to it. It's okay. It's no big
Saying,
deal.
Well,
Third best offense in baseball over that span. 26th in
That's
OPS.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that was really stupid of me, but I did preface this. Ask like, yo, check my work. This is
You
not,
did say that.
not
You
make
did say
any
Hey, I
sense.
like that, Joe. Hey, I just learned a new way. I just learned a new way to say I forgot, which is I didn't forget. I just misplaced the memory. So I like what you're doing there. I'm a big fan of that.
One thing I am confident is that their pitching is dead fucking last since that date.
Yeah, you got to
And
get out.
Evaldi came back yesterday and his velocity was down. I think they had him on a pitch count because they did not have a rehab start. And yeah, he got shelled. So like that's
Well, you know what that
probably
says
as
to me.
concerning as anything.
That says to me though. Well, and if you're concerned, Joe, think about where the Texas Rangers might be or must be if Evaldi is coming back at this point in time with no rehab stint. What does that tell you? I know what it tells me. It tells me the Rangers realize that they need all of the most important opportunities to go to the guys that they trust the most right now, regardless of where they're at health-wise coming off of an injured list stint. We do not want to waste any of these potential shutout bullets in AAA. It's not going to do us any good to have him going 4 scoreless for the Frisco Rough Riders in AA. No.
It's not good, Dallas. It's not good.
Did it
It's not
happen?
good, Dallas.
Did it happen?
Andrew McCutchen suffers partial Achilles tear. He's done for the season.
Oh my God.
Yep.
You need to probably get a new breaking news button that isn't so happy and
That's not
fucking
happy.
joyful.
It's
No,
breaking
the
news.
music. The music. I thought it was gonna be something funny and
I said it's not. I said it's not. Jake, did I say it's not good or did I say it was good?
I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming the sound that you picked.
Jake, what did I say?
Yeah, you said it was going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, what do you think about the sound? Was it a little misleading?
If you didn't preface it with that, then yeah, I would have thought it was something happy.
Mhm, yeah. But
So you're on Jared's side. That's fair.
yeah. I mean, I told you it was going to be bad. Yeah. Dallas, any words?
Yeah, man, that's fucked up.
Thank you.
That's just
All right.
brutal.
I think he'll. Do you think that he'll be back? I mean, he has to come back. He can't go out like that.
No, that's exactly why this is brutal.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's
but
why
that's-
this hurts a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an Achilles tendon. It sucks. You can hear it snap. You can see it roll up when it does happen. I saw one live in person at the LA Fitness. They got a basketball court there, and some kid, you could just hear it snap, rolls up to your fucking calf. You go down like a gunshot. It's crazy. But we've got doctors for this, and we'll see if Andrew McCutchen has played his last game with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I would venture to guess that he doesn't. I would venture to guess that he's back next year, because why not? They're building something special over there. They've got the young talent. That's the guy that you want around said young talent to continue to develop that and get them to the next level.
Brutal. I like the fact that he walked off the field. I mean, with help, obviously, but Mamba-esque, like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna go ahead and fire these free throws up, and we'll worry about it later.
Yeah.
I got shit to do here. That just sucks, man. Yeah, I really
does.
don't have. I mean, the one thing that I hope happens is, yeah, he's able to rehab to a point where he comes back. I don't know if it's more of a novelty situation where I'm a Pirate for a day, or if they're like, yeah, hey, we'll sign you up for the last month of the season or whatever we got, whatever we need to do to send you off into the sunset the right way, whether it's coming off the field healthy this time, whatever it may be. I'd like to think that this ends in a different fashion other than other than Andrew McCutchen walking off the field for the last time with a torn Achilles tendon.
Yeah, not a death sentence, but it is a road to recovery, and he'll have all offseason to do it. So we'll see what happens with Andrew McCutchen in the future of the Pittsburgh Pirates. But back to the wild card situation. Jay, did you chime in on whether or not you thought that the Texas Rangers have seen their final day in a playoff spot?
I'm still going to say they make it.
You think that they're going to get in?
Yeah, I think we're seeing their darkest days, and it feels ill-timed, but if pressed, I would go with the Blue Jays and the Rangers sneaking in over the Mariners still.
You don't have the Mariners getting in.
Well, there are only so many spots. So to fit the Rangers in, I've got to have somebody taking them. I got to take them out. So I'm going to ride with the Rangers. I don't think they're just running on fumes at this point. I think they have an MVP caliber player who's still playing at an incredibly high level. I think they have a frontline starting pitcher who's still pitching at a very high level and goes today in a massive game. But, I think it's going to be close. I don't think this is going to be a conversation that ends until the very last few days of the season. I don't think the Rangers are going to fade, nor do I think these other teams are going to pull away to that degree.
Interesting. Okay. So we have one person, maybe the smartest person, saying no to the Seattle Mariners.
Right.
Not happening.
Hey, it's a good point. And you know what? A big thing why I was so high on the Mariners was their easy schedule. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they've gotten over that easy schedule.
Joey,
and it ain't like that anymore.
They have, out of the three teams, I believe they have the toughest road down the stretch here. The Seattle Mariners, based on who they're playing and what that looks like at the end of their season. So that, Mariners, what's that?
You're talking about all this semen adversity, and I think that's when they rise to the occasion.
Put it like this, dude. This is how the rest of the season looks for the Seattle Mariners. Who do they have after they finish up with the Reds today? Well, they just have a 4-game set with the Rays, and then they'll be able to catch they'll be able to catch their breath against the Angels. But then they've got a 3-game set against the Dodgers. And they might be able to rebound.
I'll give them that.
They might be able to rebound against the A's. But then every game they play from there on out is against either the Texas Rangers or the Houston Astros. And it starts with the Rangers, and then it's a 3-game set with the Astros, and then they wrap up with a 4-game set
This
against.
schedule doesn't seem as daunting as you made it. I hear Angels, I hear A's, and I hear Rangers.
The last 7 or the last 10 games you're playing are against the Texas Rangers or the Houston
the Rangers
Astros.
are not good right now.
So to put some
people are probably salivating at the opportunity to play the Rangers right now.
These games happen 2 weeks from now, not right now. And you just
They've
called
sucked
Jay
for a month.
Called Jay. But let's just do the math here and the timeline. All right, you just listened and applauded Jay Hayes' evaluation of the Rangers. Playing baseball,
I acknowledge that he's the smartest guy, and I was surprised that he said no Mariners. I didn't say
and
it was
now
correct.
Here we are, the Texas Rangers being a team that the Mariners would play later down the road, and
that's
now
not
you're
at all what
lining
I
up
said.
to play.
I didn't say that.
So the thing about the strength of schedule stuff, though, is that it's very tightly compact in terms of some of those teams. So the Mariners have according to Fangraphs, the Mariners have the 3rd hardest schedule in the AL over the rest of the season. The Rangers have the 5th hardest schedule, and the Blue Jays have the 6th hardest schedule. The real differentiator is that the Astros schedule, according to this, rest of season strength of schedule, is much, much easier than any of those other teams. The only teams that have easier schedule than the Astros are the 4 central teams. So
I accurately laid it out when I told you that the Astros had the easiest path to this place, and the Mariners had the most difficult path to this place.
Which is why I wouldn't be surprised if this conversation really ends up being Blue Jays, Rangers, Mariners for 2 spots, and that the Astros are kind of off on their own by a few games towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Well, if you're just going to go based off the odds and the fan graphs, you will note that the Blue Jays have a much better chance of making it through the wild card than both the Mariners and the Texas Rangers by like a good 20-30%. Because, I mean, I guess it's just the Mariners and the Rangers are just going to be duking it out against each other. And I mean, I don't know, but that seems kind of weird to me. I would say the Mariners and the Rangers have played better than Toronto all year.
And in a 3-game set,
better odds.
In a 3-game set, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a toss-up, but you got fucking Bassett, Gossman, Barrios, if you want, for the Jays, and you can match any one of the three kids up from Seattle. You know, Kirby, Gilbert, Severino against those three. So I mean, that's a series that we're gonna have to play that one out. Sorry, I don't know that I can just give it one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like the Blue Jays have kind of been like forgotten about for whatever reason because they're not in a fucking divisional race. Yeah. They're the third best team there, but they're still, like you said, beastly on the mound. I mean, they're kind of injured right now. Bichette's out, Chapman's out.
But I think you're speaking to exactly why they've been overlooked all season, and it's because they've never had a run atop the division like the Rays or Orioles did in their own division, or like any of the AL West teams have had, particularly the Rangers. And I think the nature of why the Blue Jays are good has been unexpected to a lot of people, particularly maybe more like casual to semi-casual fans, because this is a team whose pitching has largely driven their success, whereas the two guys, like specifically Vlad Jr., is the guy that everybody thinks about when they think about the Blue Jays, and he has not had a particularly good season. And their offense has, in many ways, been disappointing. Bo Bichette was having a blistering season for a large stretch of it and has been ice cold for a prolonged period. George Springer, same sort of deal in terms of performance, not bad, but below the level that I think we've come to expect from him. So I just think that's why. I think it's all of those things. And but I also think that when you step back from that and look at who are on these teams and how are these people playing individually, the Blue Jays are as dangerous, if not more so, than these teams that we've paid more attention to all season.
Yeah, and the Jays have gotten help. The Jays have gotten help as of late from some of the guys that they've had to bring up. You know, and that's going to matter. Are they going to be able to make an impact for the Jays down the stretch in an October run? I don't know. I don't know what that looks like for them. But I mean, fucking Spencer Horwitz, I believe, doing work.
Yeah.
Schneider doing work. David.
Right. How they brought up those two. Those two guys are basically having Babe Ruth seasons, and they're like the 2 weeks they've been up.
I mean, they're getting
OPS at 1,000.
Yeah, they're getting it done, man.
Should be an interesting last few weeks. How many weeks? Well, look at the schedule right now.
That's why I said the AL West race is a race to pay attention to. I mean, the NL wild card race is a great race as well. The AL West race is exciting.
The difference is the AL West is like one of those three teams isn't making it, and whoever doesn't make it, it's a massive disappointment. It's like you fucking choked. Like whoever it is. NL is a bunch of teams that it's like, it'll be awesome if the Diamondbacks make it. It'll be awesome. Marlins or the Reds, but it's like if you don't make it, kind of called it. But all three of these teams, one of them's not making it, and whoever doesn't is going to have to look like an idiot.
Do you think the Mariners look like idiots if they don't make it?
No.
Yes.
No.
Because I agree with you on the other two teams. I'm not sure I can get there with the Mariners.
Well, they got it last year. They improved since last year. So
but I mean,
take a step back?
What would you blame? Like, I don't know. Like, what would you blame it on? I don't know if that's the right way to approach
a slow start. I don't think, and if they were in first place and hung around in the wild card for the rest of the month, but then didn't make it, you wouldn't blame it on they didn't finish the job. You would blame it on they had a shit start to the season. Like they didn't give themselves enough runway to sustain the run that they went on in the second half. That's what you would have to blame it on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were pretty much, I mean, they were kind of out of it in July. Like no one was really talking about the Mariners, but it was more of like, wasn't like, but that was the narrative. Like this team is underperforming like crazy.
Mm-hmm. yeah, it's like, how do you take a year like you just had last year and not build on that whatsoever? So I don't know. I still think that they find a way.
And they just have a playoff team vibe. They got the trident in the dugout with J-Rod, the freaking like
It's
MVP of the league rookie.
Secondhand
fucking
trident use. Get out of here with that.
That is true.
home
That
run,
is true. They did take
derby
that from you.
winning.
But I think with the Seattle Mariners, it's like they don't have any major injuries. Like, at least if the Texas Rangers don't make it, they could be like,
they're getting
yeah, we
Kelvin
lost
back.
fucking Nathan Eovaldi for 2 months, and we lost Jacob deGrom for the year back in May or whatever that was. Like, there are fatal flaws that the Texas Rangers sustained over the course of this season. Things that and losing Josh Young, as we mentioned earlier, like that was something that you could pinpoint that date as a turning point in their season for where a downward trend began. With the Seattle Mariners, it's just like, yeah, like we just didn't play good baseball for a long time, which is almost the exact same blueprint that they followed from the year before. They didn't play good baseball for a long time. And then once they did, it was enough to get them in. This time, what's different about this year than last year is it was a 2-team race in the West versus the 3-team race that they have this year. The Texas Rangers were not a threat to them last year. So I still think Seattle has what it takes to get in. I'm not saying that Texas is going to completely fall out of it. I think Texas will hang around, and I can't remember. I think it was Joey that made the point. They might even hop back into the playoff spot. They could do that tonight. Like that could, by the time you listen to this podcast, they might be in a playoff spot. Who knows? But at the end of the season, I still think that Seattle gets in, and Houston. This is Houston's division now.
I'm with you on that. I think the Rangers are going to be the odd man out in this. My prediction.
Yep, could be, which is going to suck because I definitely have. I kind of dug in with the Rangers earlier in the year. That sucks. That really sucks. But
they had a 95% chance to make the playoffs. What?
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago? 2.5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Now they have 40%, bro.
Dwindling.
In about 2.5 weeks.
That's why you can't get too high on those percentages.
Old dwindling.
Can't.
You
Yeah,
can get as high as you want.
you can get as high as you want when you start hitting
Non-Texas,
bets. Because the best Thursday of the year is coming up, and it's all about NFL opening night. Football is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is hooking new customers up with can't-miss offers to celebrate. Place your first $5 NFL bet and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game this September. Check out the app to see what you got. Don't wait till kickoff to get in on the hype. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared. That's Jared. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When you bet just $5, that is promo code Jared, only on the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
On to the National League wildcard update that we have here. It's the Phils, dude. The Philadelphia Phillies at 76-62. They have a 4.5 game lead. Then you have the Chicago Cubs, thrilling victory last night at Wrigley. The Christopher Morel homer heard around the world. Great camera work by the fucking social media crew over there. Got all the angles, 20 different angles of the Morel homer. Then, after their walk-off victory last night against the Seattle Mariners, the Cincinnati Reds, bet you thought we were dead. Bet you thought we were dead. The Cincinnati Reds are back in a playoff spot, all with their negative 33 run differential. I didn't realize this until I'm looking at this right now. The San Diego Padres have a plus 68 run differential. They have a better run differential than the Phillies, than the Reds, than the Marlins, than the D-backs, like all these teams that are hovering around the wild card picture. It's the Cubs at plus 95, and then it's the Padres at plus 68 for the entire field of non-first place teams in the National League. Unfortunately, I don't think that the San Diego Padres are going to be able to recoup and turn that positive run differential into a playoff spot. It doesn't seem like that's the case. But the Cincinnati Reds are back in a playoff spot. They hold a half-game lead over the Marlins, a one-game lead over the D-backs. Credit to the D-backs. They sustained one of the most brutal losing streaks of the entire season for a playoff hopeful team, and were able to eat that blow and stay in the wild card race. They're just a game back of the Reds. How do we feel? And even the Giants, to their credit, I mean, they've lost 5 straight, which is, would they go from the second wild card spot to like there's fucking 5 teams in front of them for the third one? But they're still only 2 games back, but there's a lot of traffic in the National League wild card race. Of the teams, the Phillies, the Cubs, and the Reds, which teams do you actually see getting in, and what teams are just holding the place for someone else?
I feel like the Phillies and the Cubs, I don't want to call them locks, but are they not locks? It feels like they're probably the 2 most.
No, I think Phillies
out of the
maybe.
remaining teams?
Phillies maybe. I don't know. There's been so much shifting in the National League wild card that. So I was kind of thinking of this morning when I was thinking about, did I prematurely call the Red Sox season over? No, I don't think I did, but I think as baseball fans, to the point of the Rangers being 95% 2 weeks ago, I think when we're baseball fans, we see 95%, that's a lock, we're in. We never account for how fucking unpredictable the sport is and how teams can just completely collapse and there's really no explanation for it. Like the 2011 Red Sox that had the best record in the majors, and then they just went like 3-21 in September and missed the playoffs entirely. Like, we just don't account for shit like that. So, I mean, you don't need me to explain this to you, Dallas. I am reluctant to call any team in the wild card picture right now a lock. Like, unless there's like a double-digit lead right now, which even still, I'm pretty sure the Red Sox had a double-digit lead at this point in September and still like lost the division, didn't make the playoffs. I'm reluctant to do it, but it's just too tightly packed for me to say that any one of these teams is a lock to get in.
So what'd you say the Red Sox went in 2011? 3 and
it was
what?
Something like fucking, it was like 6-24 or something like that.
Yeah. So think about it like this. That's 3 weeks worth of losses and just 1 week worth of wins over the entire month, right? Well, at this point in time, we've got a week of this month already gone, taken care of. Boom. So gone. If you're applying the Red Sox situation, I would let you choose. Do you want to remove a week's worth of losses, or do you want to remove your only week's worth of wins right now from where we're at? Because you got 3 weeks left. So do you want to look at it like you're not going to win any more games, or do you want to look at it like you could win more games? So that's where I think the mindset has to be right now when we're thinking about these other teams like the Reds, the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, is what do they have in store for them, to the point of, are they in 3 weeks more likely to win 2 weeks worth of games or more likely to lose 2 weeks worth of games? And I don't see the Philadelphia Phillies or the Cubs turning into teams that are going to start losing 2 weeks worth of games here down the stretch.
Maybe you're right. Just using an extreme example.
No, but I mean, I think that's a perfectly fine example to use when just of how I was processing this. I don't know that the Phillies and the Cubs get pushed off of their spots, so much so that there's 2 other teams that we're talking about when this is all said and done.
I'm ready to lock in the Phils, my Fightins, just because, Bryce Harper cut his beard, and I think that's going to be great for the team.
Don't love that, by the way.
He's like 0 for 23 right now.
Yeah.
Ever since Jared picked him in the parlay. But
parlay.
The beard is
how'd that
go? Let's not bring up the parlay. That's
you guys don't want to talk about that?
No.
No.
No, we're talking about the wild card
Oh.
right now. The Cubs.
All right.
I do think that these central teams, the Cubs and the Reds, have a advantage just because of who they're going to be playing in the Central. I think the Cubs got a chance of taking down Milwaukee, to be honest, because everyone's ignoring Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
I think, yeah, it's coming down to the the Marlins, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants for me for the third spot. And
You still believe in the Giants?
I mean, not really. I don't believe in any of those three teams. I think they're all kind of trash. But that's where we're at.
Right.
Well,
I like the Reds mojo.
The good
so maybe
news.
I'll go Reds.
The good news for the Brewers is, this is what the Brew Crew schedule looks like coming up. They're going to have to deal with the Buccos here for one more game. Got the rubber match of that series, and then you got the Yankees coming up. But then it's the Marlins. You got the Marlins for 4. Little breather with the Nats. Little breather with the Cardinals.
Nats are playing good ball right now.
And
Nats are back.
It's
The Yankees are back too.
overall, fellas, overall. So they've got a 7-game window between the Nats and the Cardinals where they could catch their breath and get ready for a stretch that includes the Marlins one more time and a season-ending series against the Cubs. They'll have the Cardinals sandwiched in between there again, but you've got the Marlins and the Cubs for 6 out of your last 10.
But like all these, like that's what I was saying. The Central teams kind of have similar schedules. They're kind of playing each other. The Cubs, other than playing the Central, they're playing the fucking Rockies 2 series, and that looks pretty easy.
Well, but I mean, for those two teams right there, for the Cubs and the Brewers who are atop of the division right now, at the end of the series, this is what I always tell Jared. I've been telling Jared this you just want an opportunity to have the season come down to a series. And if this is where you're at, when it's all said and done, between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs, because what separates these two teams right now? Not much. 2 games.
Yeah.
2.5
games.
I think.
Right? So if you put me and you in a cage with 3 games left at the end of the season and I'm only down 2.5 games,
3 in the loss.
like that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be.
They're kind of opposites too, if you look at it, because the Cubs, the Cubs lineup is good, and they've added Jamer, and but their pitching is kind of bad, and it's the opposite for the Brewers. Their pitching is pretty fire. The lineups kind of mid. All these teams are kind of bad, man. I'll be honest.
The Cubs?
I mean, the
Cubs
NL
are not
race,
a bad team.
The NL race
Cubs
is
are not bad.
interesting because there's teams in it. Like there's multiple teams in it. I don't know that it's interesting because there's ridiculous powerhouses or a team that has so much expectation attached to them that it's going to be that big disappointment if they're not there. Kind of like we phrased with the American League situation. Like out of those teams that we're talking about, out of the Reds, Marlins, Diamondbacks, Giants, how many of you are walking away holding your head in your hands when you're like, fuck, man, I can't believe the Diamondbacks didn't do it?
No.
No, like, are you having a come to Jesus moment with your cousin because the Giants weren't able to make a push in September? I don't think so.
The Cubs are 8th in Major League Baseball in run differential.
Also, I just want to call out Justin Steele's start from the other day too.
Oh,
which happened since the
do
last
it,
time we
Jay.
podcast. Like, if we're gonna talk about the Cubs and like, are they a lock? Are they a postseason viability? That kind of stuff. Like, it
Got a
kind of
fucking
starts
Cy
with
Young
Justin
candidate.
Steele to me because, yeah, I don't think he's going to win, but I think he should probably get some votes and maybe more
Let's
votes
talk
than he
about him.
will get.
Hell yeah.
And that was without question his most dominant start of the season. And to me, it just looked like, I know they're not exactly the same pitcher, but it was hard not to envision the John Lester influence going on with Justin Steele. And I don't know how closely they worked together, but I do remember reading at the beginning of the season that at some point last year when they were hanging around, that was part of Steele's thought process about kind of becoming a 2-pitch guy with his repertoire a little bit and leaning into that kind of stuff. And I just couldn't be more impressed. And I think his ascension makes them far more dangerous than we thought they were, even while he was cruising in the middle of the season. He's just sustained it so well. It's hard to deny at this point.
It's been stupid, Jay. His last 15 starts, 2.38 ERA, 87 innings. He's punched out 96 over that time. He's doing a great job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. 9 home runs allowed over those 15 games started in an era where shit is flying off the shelf. 17 walks. So the command, opponents hitting 246. To your point about a midseason, it's been dominant all year. He's had 2 outings, two outings out of the 26 he's had where he's given up more than 3 earned runs. 2 outings, 5 earned runs in each of those outings. Outside of that, the dude has not given up more than 3 runs anytime he's taken the baseball. He is a fucking force, and he might not be the lead horse in the race for that NL Cy Young, but God damn it, he's in that conversation.
I don't want to have that conversation right now because I feel like it's a very broad conversation and Dallas only has like 10 minutes left, but it is a 3-horse race with no clear favorite, in my opinion.
I also just want to say
Strider. I'll say Strider early just because of the domination.
We're not doing it right now.
I know. That's why I just wanted to get it out. God damn it. Sorry.
I think my built-in assumption when comparing the Brewers and the Cubs beginning of the season and up until maybe moments ago was always the assumption that the Brewers had the better frontline starting pitching, or at least the best frontline starting pitcher. And I just don't think you can say that anymore. Corbin Burns' season is what it is. I'm not waiting for it to turn around at this point. He was my preseason Cy Young pick. Obviously a huge disappointment to me, but Justin Steele is just fucking better at this point. And if the Cubs have that element, and I think we're all on the same page that the Cubs offense is a lot better, then to me, I think Joey brought it up 15 minutes ago. I actually like the Cubs' chances of tracking down the Brewers for the division and being more of a dangerous threat in the postseason than I would bet on their chances of falling out of the wild card. That's to me, they're closer to that conversation because of Steele.
I think I would agree with that. That they're closer to making an impact and taking it over than they are falling on their face and being irrelevant.
Yeah. Like when, not to jinx them or anything, but when is the last time that there's been a lull with the Cubs? It feels like they've been on an upward trend for months.
Well, that's where like when's the last time they've been swept, right? You look at those moments. Like, have you been able to prevent the 3-game loss? That's what you want to take note of. And I would venture to guess that it hasn't happened for a while.
It was June
the last time they got swept.
Yeah.
So yeah,
ever since the All-Star break, they've been on fire.
Have the Orioles been swept yet? No.
Still
haven't been swept.
No.
Damn. It's impressive.
Since July 18th, best team in Major League Baseball. 696 winning percentage. It's time to put some respect.
Put some respect.
32-14. Best team in baseball. Cubs.
Wow.
I mean, that's we're going on 6 weeks since that point. 7 weeks. It's a decent chunk of baseball.
Hey, I said it in the beginning of the season. They got a lot of guys in this team looking to prove something. Yeah. Eric Hosmer, Trey Mancini. Those were 2 pieces. And guess what? We're better without them. They prove what they need to prove. But how about Belly being a beast all year?
Impact undeniable, Joe. Impact undeniable. You mentioned Hosmer. You mentioned the success of Bellinger, all in the same voice. No coincidence there. Jay, shut up.
Yep.
No coincidence there.
You're saying it's not a coincidence that as soon as Eric Hosmer was kicked to the dumpster, that Cody Bellinger stopped being shitty and got to be good again? I also don't think that's a coincidence.
There could be. That's one way to look at it. If you'd like, you could view it from that lens. If you're into that, it's fine. Some might say he understood the math equation: addition by subtraction. It's my time to go. You fellas do the job. That's ultimate leader type shit, Jay. But maybe you don't want to see it through that lens. That's fine.
Dallas, any final thoughts before you get out of here?
Yeah, I'm going to need you shitbags to get it together. If we're going to win these people money, if the gravediggers are going to be able to depend on us, you're going to have to do a much better job. I can't carry the wagon myself. Can't do it. I tried.
Well, I think next week's probably our week, though.
right.
For
I
being
think
honest.
so too.
Don't you think that next week we'll probably win it?
Yeah,
Probably.
I do. Yeah, I'm admittedly like I'm in a little bit of a 2-game skid here. I don't think I've lost back-to-back parlays all year, so now I'm kind of sliding. I can't be talking that talk no more.
But yeah, final thoughts. Shout out to dear friend Chris Bassett, who just tied a franchise record for the Toronto Blue Jays with his 9th outing of 6 or more shutout innings. So Bass absolutely fucking dealing.
Thanks. So many people were tuning in for a Chris Bassett update, and I'm glad that we got it.
Oh, they got it. Well, we're talking about the Toronto Blue Jays. We're talking about trying to make a surge into October. We're talking about pitching. You're going to have to talk about Chris Bassett.
Have to. Can't not.
You have to.
All right, go A's, Dallas.
That's right. That's right. The swinging's off to Texas. What about tonight, Carabas? Say something.
Okay, bye.
I'm out.
Not fucking tomorrow! What about tonight? Tonight, Robin! Say something!
Crazy people. Crazy people. If you are looking to go to the Oakland A's game, boy, do I have some good news for you. Double good news. First of all, plenty of seats available. Second of all, with a Game Time app, you'll get one of the best seats in the house, guaranteed. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer deals on last-minute tickets with their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun that you'll have. I think, when is the next game? Oh, Friday. Yeah, Friday. I'll be at the Orioles-Red Sox game at Fenway Park. Shout out to Game Time for giving me one of the best fan experiences that I can ask for. Because the one thing that I love about the Game Time app is that you can see the seats before you get there. And I usually need that. I don't need that so much at Fenway, but when I'm getting tickets for hockey games with my dad or Celtics games with Coley, I need to see where the seats are at. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you are set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code Jared, Jared, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code Jared for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. We can get into the shitty Luis Urias story. This happened, I think. Yeah, it happened right after we finished recording on Monday. Los Angeles Dodgers starter, did I say Luis? He's a second baseman for the Red Sox. Julio Urías was arrested and charged with felony domestic violence charges late last night, so that would have been Sunday. An officer with the LAPD tells ESPN Urias, 27, was booked late Sunday and released early this morning on $50,000 bond. So this comes out. I think the reaction to it was pretty universal at that point. I had tweeted something out, which I think got misinterpreted in some corners of the internet. So I said, I believe in second chances and that people can change if they really want to. I do not believe in third chances. At that point, that's just who you are. Get them out of the league. And I think for some reason, there were people that thought that I was immediately, like, this news just came out and I was immediately advocating for a second chance for this guy, not realizing he had already been suspended for this and that was his second chance. So I was saying there shouldn't be another chance. It was very shitty because I feel like I've been pretty firm in my stance against domestic violence, whereas for years if a guy is suspended for domestic violence, I won't even tweet their highlights anymore. Like I don't even like the MLB can let them back into the league, but I don't acknowledge them. Like I don't tweet any dude that's been suspended for domestic violence. I won't acknowledge them anymore. I won't tweet their highlights. So I thought that was pretty fucked up. But I don't know where you guys stand on this. We can have some sort of discussion about it. I believe the first suspension for Julio Urías was 20 games. I think it was something like that.
20 games.
I think it's not you can't have it's not a black and white conversation because sometimes, and I believe this happened in the Aroldis Chapman case where the league still suspended him, but no criminal charges were filed against him. So there's the muddied waters of we're going to levy suspension. We're going to levy action against this guy, even though he wasn't criminally prosecuted. I think if in the case of Urias, because when I'm saying like, I believe in second chances, I don't think that like there should be a light slap on the wrist for the first time back. Like I'm saying if there's domestic violence and this guy is responsible for it, 20 games is not enough. I think you should have to sit out for a fucking year. And then there should be some sort of evaluation process to determine, is this guy different now? And I'm sure that there are plenty of people that are going to sit there and say, well, if they do it once, that's just who they are. These people never change. I would say in a lot of cases, that's probably true. That's probably true. But I don't think it's 100% across the board. And in the case of Urias, he's telling you who he is. He's a very bad person. His first suspension should have been longer. Now that it's happened a second time, should not be allowed back into the league, in my opinion. But it was just a little odd that people were angry at me for saying the second chance thing when it's like, where was your anger towards the league when they're telling you that they'll allow him back after a second time? Like he'll get suspended again, I'm sure. But however long the suspension is, it'll be up. And I think the only thing that might factor in here is the fact that he's a free agent at the end of the year. So if he's a free agent, then a team has to sign him so that he can, there's probably not enough games. Like whatever suspension he's going to get, it better be fucking longer than the games remaining on the schedule. So let's just say it's, 25 games is what's remaining on the Dodgers schedule. If he gets suspended for 162, which I still don't think he's like, the league has set the precedent. I don't know. I don't know what the precedent is. I don't know how many games he would get suspended for. But let's just say that it is 162 games. So now he's basically got to find a team that will take the PR hit for signing him in the first place. And he would have to sit out a suspension for the first year of that contract. Is there a team that's going to do like he may be out of the league anyway, right? Is the point that I'm trying to make. He may be out of the league anyway because no team wants to take on the PR hit and no team wants to sign this dude to a contract where he has to be suspended for the first part of it. But in the case where that's where the anger should be. That's where the anger should be is this dude had a domestic violence suspension, was allowed back into the league after, and then with that opportunity, what did he do? And I agree with the people that are saying if he'll do this, because I saw somewhere on Twitter that the incident kind of played out in public a little bit, or at least that there were people around. So if this dude will do that in front of people like Domingo Germán, what is this dude like behind closed doors? That's a bad person. And we don't want that in our sport, in our league. So I don't know. I kind of feel like it should be a 2-strike policy. Don't know what the suspension is going to be for a guy like that. But yeah, I think that it should definitely be a stronger stance against those who violate the domestic violence policy.
Yeah, I don't think he'll probably pitch again early on. I mean, maybe a lot of information is going to come out. What happens in court? I mean, that's why MLB hasn't suspended him yet. They have a lot to factor in. Basically, MLB suspends people based on like not what you they're not like a court of law where it's like like what you did gets you this suspension. It's more like, if we put you in the league, how much backlash are we going to get? How much does that hurt MLB's brand? Like, that's where these suspensions are decided.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the case of the Aroldis Chapmans of the world, the Yankees traded for him knowing that the suspension was being levied. Like, the incident happened. He was getting suspended for it. The Yankees traded for him knowing this. And then he served out his suspension as a Yankee, even though he committed the domestic violence policy violation as a Cincinnati Red. So, I mean, Jay,
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't have a lot of unique thoughts on this. According to my reading, he was arrested for corporal injury on a spouse, and that requires bodily injury being willfully caused by physical force. When you combine that with his previous arrest, and I'm wiping away this idea that people can change. I don't care as it relates to this topic, because nobody has a right. It's always backed up with people have a right to make a living, right? Cool. What they don't have a built-in God-given right to do is earn millions and millions of dollars pitching for very public-facing entities in the sport of baseball or any other sport. There are other jobs that Julio Urias, if he's no longer able to play baseball, could go and acquire for himself. And he would be able to make a living doing so. So I just don't have a lot of sympathy for this. In my mind, I don't think we see him anytime soon. Certainly not again this season. And I would be, if I had to bet on it, I don't think we see him pitch at the Major League Baseball level next season. So
you think,
and
you
good
think that
fucking
there's
riddance.
a chance he could come back? Yeah, I agree. You don't think that he could come back at all?
I think there's a chance that we never see him again. That's my stance on Trevor Bauer when we talked about that, is I don't think he's ever pitching in Major League Baseball again. I don't know enough about this situation to draw a direct comparison there, but this is also number 2 for Urias, and I don't, as cold and calculated as Major League Baseball teams are, I am currently going to guess that in 2023 that we will not see Urias play for a very long time, if ever again.
Yeah, it's just a hard sell. Like, I know that in the example of Bauer, it was just, you had executives looking at their employees, the women employees. It was like, how do I justify to these people that I've made the decision to bring someone with this reputation, with these accusations into the organization? Like,
and not to be cute about it, but the phrase is second chance, right? It's not third chance. And like, if you want to be the type of person that says somebody accused credibly of domestic violence and suspended for it deserves a second chance, I'm not sure I agree. But if you want to be that type of person, the general you, well, then he already got it. Okay. So like, let's fucking turn the page. And I don't care about his ability to derive a livelihood from Major League Baseball moving forward at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that we see him in Major League Baseball again, just based on the precedent that was set with the Bauer stuff. I think it was, you had executives step up and say, how am I supposed to justify this to people that work here?
I also think, one final point, the market you play in does matter in these situations sometimes. And I think we've seen that there are things about the LA market that are unique to it. And I just don't know that specifically about ever playing in LA again. I think that is completely out the window. And that this is going to be a very clean turn the page situation given his free agency.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to be clear, like, when I'm talking second chances, I'm talking like the first offense penalty was too light, 20 games. Like, can you change in 3 weeks? No. Like, first offense, see ya for a fucking year. And then after that year, there's some sort of evaluation of the person, and then a determination is made whether you should be allowed back. It's not like a jail sentence where you sit there for your term and then you get out because the time has expired. Like even after serving a year, there should be some sort of evaluation of the person. And if you determine like, yep, this dude's the same piece of shit he was a year ago, then all right, smell you later. But yeah, I really don't think that we will or should see Julio Urías on a big league mound again. Anything else, Joe? Anything else you want to add?
No, I definitely agree, and I feel like that's like kind of the wave we're on. Like people will like. I don't see Wander really. I think there's a good chance he doesn't play again.
Mm-hmm.
Depending how that goes, I don't think Bauer ever plays again in MLB. Ozuna, not Ozuna from the Braves, the guy from
Osuna with an S.
Osuna, he's never played since his thing. So, yeah,
not
especially
after his
if
deal expired. That was the thing, though, and it's really shitty. But Osuna stopped being good, and that's why he's not in the league. Aroldis Chapman still pitching in Major League Baseball.
I think Osuna in Japan is like the best pitcher there right now.
Is he really?
Just one point on Osuna too. Like, not that it's totally unique among baseball executives, but I also think there was a level of craven opportunism that existed with the previous Astros regime under Lunau that was, if not unique, then extreme to the Houston Astros. And I just don't think we see a team take a flyer on a domestic abuse guy like they did with Ozuna ever again. At least in that sort of high profile way.
No. It just is a little odd.
Especially after two.
It's a little odd that like we're not even that far removed from that being something that happened. In both instances. Like the Yankees knowingly traded for Aroldis Chapman knowing that a domestic violence suspension was coming. The Houston Astros brought in Roberto Osuna because the Toronto Blue Jays were like, get this fucking guy out of here. And I believe that because of like the Canada, like the justice system there is different, that all the details weren't released, but that there was someone within those walls that talked about how horrific it actually was. And the Astros were like, yep, well, we'll take someone for pennies on the dollar. I think those days are over. Hope those days are over. Yeah. Yeah. There were people that were like, oh man, I wonder how much he cost himself in free agency. I don't know. The entire contract, like whatever he was going to get.
Everything.
Yeah. Fucking idiot. All right. Quick little shout out to Harry's. No matter why you shave, Harry's has you covered for the best shave of your life at the price that you'll love. From their legendary high-quality razors to skin products and exfoliating face wash and hydrating lotion, Harry's gives you premium shave. Speaking of Bryce Harper, without premium price tag. Get better quality and better price than other razors when you get Harry's delivered right to your door. I had Harry's delivered right to my door because people were like, oh, you have a beard? You shave it? Yeah. You got to shave up here. You got to do the little cheekbones. You got to get the neck going. And it's very affordable. And it's something that I'm a busy guy. I don't have time to go out and get my own razors. They get sent right to you. Very, very affordable. How affordable? The starter set for a $13 value is just $3 at harrys.com/Jared, Jared. It includes a 5-blade German engineered razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover. Scheduled delivery for refills as low as $2, half of what you pay for other blades. Creams, washes, and lotions that will keep your skin healthy and hydrated. Blades made in their own factory in Germany that stay sharp. Guys who have tried it say that their 8th shave is just as sharp as their first. Sleek, weighted handles that look great in your bathroom and give you a precise control with each swipe. Harry's has the highest customer satisfaction in the shaving industry And they're still offering a no-risk trial. Don't like your shave? No worries. It's on them. Get your best shave ever this summer with Harry's Razors skin products. Get a $13 starter set for just $3 at harrys.com/Jared. That is harrys.com/Jared for a $3 starter set. This one hits home for both me and Jay Hay and for all baseball fans. Every baseball fan loves Terry Francona, but it sounds like he has said that it is time.
I think I've been pretty clear with people. I don't want to have the last month be a send off or a pity party, or because that's not how I feel. But I'm it's time, and my body's telling me that, my head's telling me that, and I don't want to stay on for the wrong reasons. And I hope I have too much respect for not just the game, but for this organization to do that. And so I've been pretty clear with the guys I work for and told them to start preparing because it's time.
Terry Francona on MLB Network Radio on Sirius XM. I don't think that this should come as a surprise. I feel like at any point over the last, I don't know, 7 years, he could have said this exact same thing and it wouldn't have come as a surprise. The way that the man has to prepare his body just to manage a baseball team, you would think that he's, playing right field and starting 160 games a year. Like, he has had health problems for what feels like over a decade now. And I'm sure, it's something where it's a labor of love. He is a true baseball lifer, from his dad being around the game, to playing professionally, to coaching, to managing. Terry Francona is a baseball rat, and he has been at the helm of some of the most iconic teams that have ever played the game. And he has managed some of the most iconic players who have ever played the game. And I think that that's probably one of the best compliments that you can give him, is that you would kind of be hard pressed to find a guy that played for Tito that didn't have a positive review, and it's not like he played, it's not like he managed his entire career for great teams either. Like the Philadelphia years, those were hard years. The way that it ended in Boston, I'm sure he's still bitter about it. And maybe we'll find out more of that in his post-managing career, because he doesn't have to abide by any sort of regulations or restrictions from his employers. But yeah, Terry Francona, Hall of Famer, if this is it, which it sounds like it is, World Series champion, and a guy that, I think this is how he should go out. Like, it, under no circumstances should Terry Francona's final season be a season where he gets fired by the team that he's managing. He is a manager where it's over when he says it's over. And if we're to read between the lines here, which I don't really think that there's much decoding that we have to do, then it's time.
I mean, we're talking about a guy who, between the Red Sox years and the Cleveland years, reeled off 16 consecutive winning seasons as a manager, and 17 of 19. Two of the three losing seasons since he got to the Red Sox have come in the last 3 seasons with Cleveland. I mean, listen, he's as good of a manager as we have seen in the game. When you're talking about all the things that it takes to be a manager, in the time that he was a manager, and had an enormous amount of success. I know both of his World Series came with the Red Sox, but this has been one of the most sustained stretches of excellence that Cleveland as a franchise has had. I mean, it hasn't quite been the 90s, but and maybe it wasn't the late 40s and 50s, but any other stretch of Cleveland baseball, this stacks up with it, the Terry Francona years, and it very nearly culminated in a World Series for the team, obviously in 2016. So I think the organization is going to miss him, but we're also talking about a guy who made his minor league debut in 1980. So 43 seasons. Or if you take the year off, I guess 42 seasons, 40 seasons, whatever it's been, actively in the major leagues at either a head coaching or playing level. And I I was fortunate enough to have personal interactions with Francona when he worked at ESPN and Baseball Tonight, and there's nobody whose time I spent around them I enjoyed as much as Tito's. Just an absolute legend in that regard, and I'll never forget when flights were canceled following the 2012 World Series, and the decision was made for myself and Carl Ravitch and Tito and Kurt Schilling to drive across country, Detroit to Cleveland to Connecticut to Boston, in order to get home and drop Tito off in Cleveland on the way there for the beginning of his managerial stint in Cleveland. And then about 3 years later, I was lucky enough to take both my grandparents and my dad to a game, and he came over and spent a pretty prolonged period of time talking to the three of them. And that is the sort of stuff that, means the world and makes, working in and around baseball like extremely, extremely cool for those signature moments. And that Terry not only provided an enormous number of great on-field moments for me and Jared to enjoy and Jake, but that also there was that personal touch too that I was fortunate enough to experience. I won't ever forget.
Joseph? I say, we got such good connections with the guy. Let's hit him up. Get him on the pod. Let's make this shit official, bro.
Yeah.
Come on the podcast.
You think
Tell
so?
him you're retiring. Shit on the Red Sox. Shit on all the lazy players and everything you want to talk. Anyone you want to call out names, call them out right here because you owe it to us and we owe it to you to give you that platform because, like you said, a legend.
Mm-hmm. I would love to get him on the podcast. I've only really met him in passing. I met him at I think it was either the Beckett Bowl or the Buchholz Bowl. It was one or the other. Just met him very briefly. This was like 2011, maybe 2010. But would love the opportunity to get to interview him. I never really there's certain guys where I just don't bother with them just because I don't want to bother them. Like Nomar being one of them, and I think Tito is the other one. Like the Guardians have been to Fenway multiple times since I've had press passes. Never once did I go up to Tito and ask him if he would do something.
Maybe we pursue that in the off season.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool.
I think
give me his number.
Yeah, give Joe his number.
I'll make it work.
Yeah. Really quick. Shohei maybe
dead,
getting surgery, but maybe not Tommy John. I guess it's like it's not the same tendon that they already did the Tommy John surgery on. Like that's what his agent is saying. His agent's like, well, it's actually a good thing because the tendon that he tore is a completely new one. It's like, what? I feel like this is all bad. Like there's nothing good about it, but they're going to have some sort of like elbow reconstruction surgery that isn't necessarily Tommy John because the tendon in his elbow that he tore is not the one that he tore the first time.
And then he hurts his oblique like 2 hours later. Like, what the fuck is going on over here? What is going on in Anaheim? They need to blow that place up, dude. With the Shohei stuff, the Rendon stuff, everything else that's happened. I'm not going to name it all because there's so much crap.
Yeah.
Shohei will be back by next season, DHing.
Mm-hmm.
And don't you worry, he will be back.
You think he'll be back for the Angels or just back in general?
No. Fuck no. He's suing the Angels for millions of dollars. That's what I would do if I was him, because I'm blaming that on him. Do you see him tear his oblique? Pitcher threw a freaking low inside pitch, made him hurt his oblique.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Shohei's going to play for the rest of the year.
Well, like he tried to, and Phil Nevin was the one that said, you're not playing. Like he wanted to play. And Phil Nevin was like, you know what? You ain't playing. It's a little late. It's a little late to be telling Shohei that he shouldn't be playing when he shouldn't be playing. But yeah.
Well, it's like why would you wait to the off season? And if you have an oblique, anything like that, and you also have a torn shoulder or elbow, like why would you wait to the off season to get the surgery if you can get an extra month of rehab to get back sooner next year? There's no reason to wait.
He's a free agent, and the Angels are like, we got to sell some tickets here. We suck. and
Because
we got to milk
Angels.
Shohei for the last little bit that we can get out of him.
But it's not the Angels' decision. I mean, the
To
guy's
play him?
not playing. Oh, to play him? No, the Angels. No, it's not the Angels' decision to play him. It's his decision. It's not Angels' decision for him to get surgery now or play the rest of the season. That's completely up to Shohei. Breaking news: Shohei is not on the Angels anymore. I don't care. You check the website; it says he is. He's not. He's not an Angel anymore.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in the team photo, which was
He wasn't even in the team photo,
I
bro.
don't know if you want. I will have. People will say have fun reading into that. I will have fun reading into that. He's like, I don't even want to fucking be in your team photo. They had some dude throw on a Shohei Ohtani jersey, go out and stand in the team photo so that they can Photoshop Shohei's face on his body after. And it's like, yeah, dude, well, he just hurt his oblique. All right, yeah, but you can stand there for a photo. He didn't even want to be in the photo. Like, let's be honest. Jay, hey, you reading the conspiracy theories here?
Senior year of high school, they were taking the team photos for the junior varsity tennis team. And I decided with one of my buddies that we would join the team just to get the team photo. And we did. And then we stuck with it and played the whole season.
Amazing.
That's my perspective.
Amazing.
That guy's going to probably be batting for the Angels tonight, dude. This is like, who else are they going to play? Put in the fake Shohei. Fuck it, man.
I
He'll
would
probably tear his ACL too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Because everyone in the Angels.
Yeah.
And Shohei's done for the year. He's getting that surgery tomorrow. He's coming back next year for the Dodgers. Okay? He's a Dodger. He ain't an Angel anymore. Dodgers are probably calling him right now. Hey, Shohei, get the surgery.
Yeah, shut it down, baby. Shut it down.
We got a championship to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Anthony Rendon stuff is pretty funny.
Is it?
The,
I
Sam
can't tell
Blum.
whether it is or not.
I think it is. I think it's funny because I'm not an Angels fan. If I were an Angels fan, I'd be infuriated for sure. It's funny for us. Definitely not funny for them. So this was Monday. Anthony Rendon update. When asked for an injury update, he said no habla inglés today. He then put on a hoodie and left the clubhouse. And then this led to other people because, I mean, this Sam Blum dude, he has been documenting all these things. Like, I think the no habla inglés is the thing that kind of like went, it popped off on baseball Twitter, but Rendon's been doing this all year. Here's another one from July 19th. When asked how he was feeling today, Anthony Rendon, Shin, said, I'm not here, and left the clubhouse. On June 29th, asked Anthony Rendon how his wrist was. He said, I have two, holding them up as he walked out of the clubhouse. On July 8th, Anthony Rendon said yesterday in the clubhouse that he'd come back to give an update on his health. He did not return to do so yesterday. He did not today either. There's always tomorrow, I suppose. On August 6th, Anthony Rendon was in the clubhouse today when reporters were there for the first time during this homestand. However, he said that since he's on the, quote, dead list, he doesn't have to do interviews. So no update from him on his injury. July 23rd, Anthony Rendon declined to speak with the media today. He did say sorry. He was walking with a limp. Nevin said yesterday an MRI revealed bleeding around the shin bone. He's expected to miss a few more weeks. So, I mean, I get if you're an Angels fan, you probably hate Anthony Rendon unless you're Max. He loves Anthony Rendon, and I get it. But if you're an Angel fan, you have every right to be like, fuck this dude. But if you're also Anthony Rendon, like, I get maybe you're super frustrated because your body is failing you. Like, there's some degree of embarrassment and shame that you must feel when you sign this huge contract and you want to go out there and perform at the level that you used to that earned the contract in the first place, but your body is not allowing you to do it. He could handle all this stuff a little bit better. Maybe, you know, context is lost in the written word. Maybe like he is trying to be funny and not be a dick. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I've never met him. I've never really heard anything about him. Like, I don't know people who do know him, so I can't really speak to his character. and I'm not really necessarily like he could be a dick. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. But if I were an Angels fan, I would be infuriated because the season, it's not a case of the Atlanta Braves who lost Ronald Acuna Jr. and still go on to win the World Series. The Angels are paying, I believe, $39 million this year to Rendon. It's something like that.
There's
I
still
think
like
he has like the fourth highest AAV.
Yeah, there's like $120 million left on the deal total.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe it's the fourth highest average annual value ever given out in a contract in Major League history. And it has been an abomination. But if you're an Angels fan, you also have to be used to that. The Pujols contract was a joke. The Josh Hamilton contract was the most money ever eaten by a team that released a player mid-contract. So, I mean, that's kind of what the Angels do. They sign players to contracts that they don't deserve.
The Angels were
when
like,
Mike Trout's contract becomes?
No. I was saying what they might do with Rendon.
What might they do?
I was just saying, I think both sides are doing a little bit of needling, a little bit of inflaming the situation here, because I understand that it's his job to ask the questions about a star player on the team who's not available. But I also feel like we just kind of fucking know the answer now, and that some of this is just kind of a bit to some degree. And there's no question that Anthony Rendon's like, you're wondering whether he's being funny or being a dick. I'm supremely confident that he's being a dick. And I just think that this is extremely toxic, and more to the point, it's embarrassing for the Angels organization in a season that has just gotten so. It's like, what else could possibly happen? And it's like, oh, Anthony Rendon's going to pretend to not speak English to avoid answering a question about his availability. Cool, very classy, very cool. Nice cherry on top of a fucking disaster of a season.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, what is his motives, man? Like, is he trying to sabotage the Angels from within? Is he trying to make the Angels look like an? That's what I hope.
That's like sabotaging a warehouse that is already burned down. It's like, what are we really accomplishing here? I think this is just as embarrassing for him as it is for the Angels. To me, Anthony Rendon went from an MVP caliber player to essentially a punchline.
Yeah, but his whole career, everyone always says is that, oh, he doesn't really give a fuck. He doesn't like baseball. He doesn't really want to play, but he's amazing at it and it gives no effort. Whether that's true or not, it's like, who knows? But like, he's literally like egging that on so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't help that like right when he got paid, his performance started to decline precipitously. And I'm not saying that that's cause and effect, but it certainly doesn't help the narrative around him that you're talking about.
No, it's like openly being like, yeah, you guys should think that way. Or I just don't give a fuck if you think that way. Like, I'm in my own lane. Maybe he's just tuned out. I don't think you go to his Twitter right now, it says he plays for the Nationals. So maybe he's just completely tuned out, doesn't even fucking know this is happening really, and just doesn't care. And it's like, I'm injured, I can't play. Who cares what I tell anyone?
I mean, the fact that he got into that altercation with the A's fan this year would tell you to some degree that he cares about what is being said about him, no?
Yeah. 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 But I think it's also different if someone's saying it to you, to your face, than if it's like people online.
I guess.
Writers.
I guess.
Like if Sam Blum would have, instead of being like, hey, Anthony, any updates on the injury, was like, hey, Anthony, stop being a pussy and tell us what's going on. I'm sure his response would be different than I don't know English. He'd probably call Sam Blum a bitch. But I don't know if that would change.
We're probably like 2 weeks away from that. So just give it time.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been going on for like 2 months, dude. Sam Blum keeps asking these questions. The bro is he's a beast at questions.
I don't know.
Posting the non-answers, that tells you all you need to know with this guy.
Anthony Rendon signed.
But don't you think Trout should be like, hey, Anthony, why don't you fucking say something and stop making us look like idiots? Or Phil Nevin being like, hey, buddy boy, you're embarrassing the squad.
At this point, I don't think that it's even a consideration for those people, because how much more embarrassing can it get?
What do you mean? I mean,
It's already at the rock bottom of embarrassment. Like, I don't think that Anthony Rendon giving an update on his health is going to make it any better.
In 2 weeks, when he comes to the locker room again, Sam Blum is there with his recorder out, being like, "Hey, Anthony, any updates?" Rendon might just triple, fucking quadruple down and be like, "I don't know what he could say, but he could say something else." It would be better if he made a comment publicly and made people think that he was more down for the squad. It makes it seem like he doesn't give a shit about the Angels, about the franchise at all.
He probably doesn't.
That's a bad look. That's why people in the Angels would want to be like, "Hey, this is our squad. Let's try to not make it seem like that."
Anthony Rendon signed a 7-year, $245 million contract with the Angels at the winter meetings in 2019, December 2019. He is getting paid $38 million a year this year, next year, the year after that, and the year after that. So, I mean, it's just, you would think that the Angels would be more gun shy about giving out contracts like that, given how many times that they've been burned. It's like they signed a literal crackhead to a $125 million contract, and they're like, what could go wrong? Then they gave $245 million to, or before that, they gave that huge contract to Albert Pujols, like a 10-year deal. And it's like, everyone knows this guy is at least 7 years older than he says he is. And you just gave him a lifetime contract. And then with Rendon, you just gave $245 million to a player that doesn't even like baseball. He's straight up told you, hey, I'm good at it. So like, I'm just trying to get paid and I don't have to worry about my financial future. I don't actually like this stuff. Like, as I continue to get older, I don't have the passion or the drive to continue to be good at it. I can be good at it until I get to that payday. But I mean, when my body starts to break down, like, am I going to push through that? Am I going to like rehab and train the way that my body needs to stay on the field for the rest of my career? Absolutely not. Anyways, so where do I sign on this $245 million contract? They never learn their lesson. And I don't think they ever will. Which is why it'll be funny if they sign Shohei, because they know that he's breaking down too. And they're like, all right, fine. We'll give you the $600 million.
Don't even fucking say that.
Like, the highest bid for Shohei this winter is going to be like $270 million. And then the Angels are going to be like, fine, you want the 600? You want it? All right, deal. And they're going to bring him back. Yeah.
That would not be funny. I don't know what I would do.
I don't know.
Shohei would die. Shohei could not survive another 2 years.
In Anaheim?
They're actively trying to kill him right now.
Yeah. I know. Very sad. Anyways, we're in the heat of summer. You can get your pair of great shades that you don't have to baby. Knockaround Sunglasses is the go-to for quality polarized shades that won't break the bank. Plus, they just released the first set of teams for their official MLB collection, including the Red Sox and the Yankees. Don't be the person that's squinting into the sun or worried about getting sand on their overpriced sunglasses. Check out knockaround.com for great-looking polarized shades starting at just $28. Use the promo code ROCKET, and that'll get you free shipping on your order. Before we get out of here, Jay, how does it feel to know that the Baines meter is it's scratching the surface of just the grave diggers to now people outside just baseball Twitter are like, what's this? What's going on here? Like, I think this last Garrett Cole celebration has really reached the masses.
I noticed that last night, and obviously you amplifying it is a big part of that, just reaching the overall baseball community outside of baseball is dead. So I thank you for that. I think it's great. I think it's not so much about me, and it's not really even about Harold either. Mm-hmm. It's about bringing baseball fans together as a community and, celebrating, one of the great mediocre careers in baseball history. Mm-hmm. And when, you can kind of enter that pantheon and take a moment to take a deep breath and acknowledge that player's career in that moment. I think that means a lot to the player. I think it means a lot to the fan. And I think it's going to enrich the lives of all the people who have come across it, whether that was last night, over the last couple of days, or in future candidacies as well.
Well said. Well said. It makes me happy to see. It's almost like it's like a young child discovering what their future passion in life is going to be. Like a child going to a big league game for the first time. They're like, "Dad, what's this?" Wow. And they fall in love with it. And they're like, "Oh my God, this is great." Like seeing all these baseball fans on Twitter being like, "What is this Baines meter?" And then they discover it and they fall in love with it.
Old timers swapping Baines stories, right?
Yep.
Or if you've had an opportunity to like go and visit the Institute, which not many people have, but I expect more people will come. That's obviously kind of a really neat experience to share. So, we're taking it very seriously. It's just the beginning. We got lots of big plans for the off season as it relates to the Baines meter. It's an exciting time.
It is truly. It truly is. So thank you for all the work that you do behind the scenes on that. Joey, do you have any final thoughts?
I just want to say shout out to all the listeners and everybody on Twitter and Instagram, and Snapchat, making their voices be heard.
Wow. That's just a very broad statement for a random Wednesday, but thank you for Also, new video.
Put me on the spot there. You put me on the spot there.
New video on Baseball Doesn't Exist on YouTube. What can folks expect when they tune into that one?
Just a whole lot of craziness. New rules, old rules. Are the rules going to change next year? Thrilling stuff. If you click it, you won't be able to click away. Send it to all your family members.
Okay. What about your friends? Just family?
And friends.
Okay.
Siblings. Mentors.
Churchgoers, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Like when they say, like, you got to do like the peace be with you thing at church and everyone shakes their hands, you're just handing everyone Baseball Doesn't Exist business cards.
I would put download the video, put it on a USB drive, and start handing them out to people would be ideal.
Okay. All right. Jake's takes?
Yeah, just shout out to everyone on Snapchat, like Joey said.
Well, Baseball Doesn't Exist is on Snapchat, in case you've been living under a rock.
Right. I didn't know that.
I
didn't know that. I'm going to go subscribe right now. You guys
know.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy your Wednesday slate. I don't know. Is this a conclusion of the Rangers season? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll be back tomorrow.
Well. Scherzer versus Verlander tonight. That should have been my final thought. We didn't even cover that shit. That's kind of
it didn't happen
crazy.
Yet.
I know, but that's, I'm just hyping it up.
Right.
I'm getting people excited. The pay-per-view preview, Max Scherzer, Verlander, they were on the same team just a couple months ago, and they had this huge falling out fight. It was in the New York Post. These guys fucking hate each other for years. Now they're on different team rivals face-to-face at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the division, for the playoffs. Only one can come on top. Who you got? Personally, I got the Rangers, but we'll see. I wish I could take my pants off for you boys.
All right.
We got.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.